This is my introduction to Sailing Wilson on YouTube. I'm Captain Wannabe Ian. Yes, I do have a sailing certificate. In fact, I have two. Whether I can sail or not is another story. I own a 2013 Island Spirit catamaran, 38 foot in length, and I really love my boat. I'm sure you've heard this before, but please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and push on the notification bell. That'd help a lot. By the way, please share my videos with other people you know. I'm currently on the hard stand at Rebec Island Shipyard, which is in the top middle of the photograph. Rebec Island is a resort island just off the main island of Langkawi in Malaysia. Here's a Google Earth image of my boat just beside the blue dot on the hard stand, and here's a photograph of my boat just after I finished putting the copper coat on. I've still got a lot of work to do. Because I haven't done any work on engines for 45 years and never on a diesel, I got the assistance of Robbie Anderson of Anderson Marine Services in Rebec Island, Langkawi, to help. And if you pause this, you can write down his details. His offsider Andrew and himself are ultra fit. Both Robbie and Andrew were very informative and helpful right through the whole process. Here's an image of the engine before work started and after it was removed from the boat, and here is it ready to go back and painted and looking shiny and new. This video was before I tipped it over on an angle so that I could clean and spray the bottom of the engine, and here is an image or video of both the gearboxes, if you want to use the term, and a long shot photo of the engines and sail drives prior to going in the boat. Andrew cleaned up the pulleys and made them smoother and ready for operations once everything was installed, and the boat was ready to go back in the water. But here you can see the back of the engine and how neat and tidy it's turned out, and here you can see the black rubber diaphragms, both the upper and the lower, with the sail drive water intake fitted up, ready to be installed, and they were the first things to go into the boat. Here you can see the sail drives in situ with the black rubber diaphragms and the new water intake in place, ready for the engine to go in. So the next day the port engine was hoisted up by the Marina shipyard crew using a forklift, and Robbie Anderson guiding it into place.
Lagi sikit. Lagi sikit. Masuk sikit. Okey betul.
Initially ropes were used to lower the engine down low enough so that the forklift could be removed.
You want to do this tonight?
So once it was down far enough, Robbie Anderson got in to adjust and put it into position, and later on it was slid in and bolted into place onto the sail drive. So then it was time to do the starboard side engine, and that was the next morning. As you can see, Robbie tying up or working out where he wanted to position the ropes so it could be lowered into place.
Angkat je sama-sama kan. Boleh pegang lepas lah. Oh, that's all. Okay, reverse lah, reverse. Okay, masuk. Masuk, masuk. Lagi. Okay. Lagi sikit lah, lagi sikit. Okay.
Once it had been lowered down using the ropes, it was put to rest on the engine bay cover underneath the helm seat. So then I prepared a gantry so that we could manipulate the engine down into the engine bay, and here it is. You can see the gantry raised up by wooden blocks, and then the engine sitting waiting for the next day. So here you can see the block and tackle in place and the engine raised slightly up so we could get the engine bay cover out, and then Andrew and Robbie started to manipulate it down into the engine bay. Had some problems with the wooden beam being a little bit unstable, and the conversation then went to the safety side of lowering it down.
Alright, try to go down. Right, okay, now we go down a little bit.
Readjust it. Just make sure this one stays.
Yeah. I can hit it. You'll be fine.
Just hold it there, we can't slow it up.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Do I need you?
So then Robbie Anderson got down into the engine bay, and I couldn't do this, I'm too big and fat and old. So he turned around and was able to manipulate the engine still on the rope into position, and you'll see that in the next part of the video. The bright sunlight made this video a bit milky, but you can get the general idea of how the engine was swung around on the rope and lowered down into place and then manipulated in and connected to the sail drive and bolted in situ.
Alright.
Okay there?
So Robbie placed a bit of wood underneath the front of the sail drive to get the angle of the engine and the sail drive to align. So they were bolted together and made everything right, ready for the next few days of fitting up the different parts to both engines. And you can see here in the video most of the parts have been fitted up. The exhaust elbow had a leak, so it had to be removed and stainless steel welded to fix the problem. Here is the engine ready for the wiring in of all the rubber tubes and pipes, or whatever you call them. And once that was done, the engine was ready for the smaller parts, and things like the starter motor solenoid, which here's an image of, turned out to be faulty and had to be sourced with local parts, along with a number of other parts that I decided to replace, including the kill switches and the radiator caps, and of course the solenoid, the starter solenoids. And to do that, I decided to spray paint them initially with the primer, the red primer, and then I finished them off with a rust-proofed white gloss. and they were ready to be fitted up. And that was it. The engines were ready to start, and here's some images of the engines in place, all fitted up except for the raw water intake, which a bucket of water would help to start the engines and get the raw water flowing through. And excuse the torch, it was late in the day, and you can see that it's a nice shiny finished job, and I was happy with the work that Robbie Anderson and Andrew from Anderson Marine Services had done, along with my assistants of course, but most of the work was done by them, and I'm completely happy with the work done. If you pause this, you can write down Anderson Marine Services details for if you ever want work done by them. The video was produced by myself, and it's the end of another exciting video of engine repairs part 5 of our haul out at Reback Island, Langkawi, part 30.